here. I think Courtney's all set up. Courtney's collection is going to close out the show. That's the plan. So just to get you oriented to where we are in time and space. And Courtney, I'm going to turn it over to you to take it away and let me know, and I'll do my best with the slides. Some of my methods are having technical difficulties today, so thanks everyone for bearing with us. Courtney, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. My name is Courtney Cole, and this is my final collection plan, C3XL Gold Tag. So just to give you guys a little bit of background about me, I started my own brand in 2020 during COVID. I was already working in the fashion industry as a visual merchandiser at Victoria's Secret flagship store at Easton. So I went to a arts high school growing up, so I already was like very much into art, graffiti, and fashion already was like a part of my creative, like my love for the creative arts. So basically I started my brand when everybody got laid off during the whole COVID thing because I was working at the mall. And it originally was called CC Couture X Lab Rat, which is CC is my initials, Courtney Cole, and then Couture to add on that fashion piece. And then the Lab Rat is my graffiti alias. So that's how I came up with my name. And then I later on just like condensed it down to just the initial C3XL. So basically my original brand is like rooted in streetwear, and it's just like an elevated streetwear. So I like to do like a little bit of avant-garde, like hints and notes into like just regular everyday clothes. So I've always had an interest in couture clothing, so I decided to enroll into college to get my formal education in fashion because I was a self-taught designer and I just wanted to like elevate myself. So I ended up at Hocking College, and through this process and this program, I have developed the brand C3XL Gold Tag, which is going to be my elevated version of my brand, and it's basically the couture version of C3XL. So my brand values craftsmanship, exclusivity, sustainability, and innovation. And this is going to be the ideal gold tag woman. So she is going to be a creative professional around the ages of 20 to 45, somebody who might work in the music industry, the film, television industry, a creative director, artist, visual artist, painter, things of that nature. She has a high income of $250,000 and up. So just that's going to be the buy-in start where you probably can afford the brand. Her psychographic profile is she's a trend leader. She is career-driven, art-driven. She attends cultural events, galas, red carpet events, private parties, and she values ethical luxury. And she lives in any metropolitan city around the world. So a little bit about my brand kit. I just want everyone to be familiar like with my main logo. So it would be the C3XL, which is my original brand logo with the gold tag edition. That's how you're gonna know that it's different than the regular C3XL brand. Then I have my secondary logo, which it could be called C3XL Gold Tag or just Gold Tag. You can shorten it. And then I also made like a monogram like stamp because I really am inspired by like high fashion and like how Louis Vuitton has their LV. Chanel has her CC, so I wanted my own CC, so I made my own version of the CC monogram logo. And then I have my signature and letter stamps because I also am inspired, I'll get more into it, but by 17th century like Baroque style things, so I really like that wax like stamp. And then we have my typographies. It's going to be very bold. I really love typography because just graffiti is already my passion. So like I wanted to do really bold type with as well as like a cursive edition for the gold tag, just so you know it's like a little more elegant, it's more elevated. And then just some other types that would just follow suit and look nice with it. And then we have the color palette, which is mainly just going to be black, white, and gold. So the overview for my collection for the fashion show is the brand is C3XL Gold Tag. It is titled The South Side of Couture.
Okay.
And then this is gonna be dropping fall winter 2026 and 2027. The category is women's evening wear, and this is made to measure luxe street couture. So a little bit about the story behind this first collection from C3XO Gold Tag. It is inspired by my story. So basically I grew up on the south side of Columbus, Ohio. So I've always had that inner city, like streetwear culture influence, going to, inner city schools and things like that, and just like inspired by the music, the art, the clothes. And then I discovered couture like in the most unlikely of places, in a thrift store. So my dad would always take us on thrift store trips, and I got to looking through some magazines and found a Vogue magazine and just was like, wow, what is this? Like, this is like art, but it's like fashion. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't look the best, but it's cool at the same time. So that's how I got interested in couture. So the other picture there is my sister, and this is on the south side of Columbus. There's like a lot of really cool like graffiti murals around. So she is wearing a C3XL denim jacket that I made. So she was like, when I started designing, she was my go-to model, like, cause she was kind of dibbling and dabbling in the modeling industry. So I was like, you're gonna model for me. So pretty much like my whole first year of designing, she was wearing everything I made. The picture above that is me and my aunt and my grandmother. And these two women are the women in my life who basically like opened the door to fashion to me. My grandma already sewed. She already knew about clothes, so when I got interested in it, she was the one who took me in and showed me like how to make a purse, how to make a dress. And then my aunt, she was always like, let's go to the mall when I would go see her. So we would always go to the mall, go look at clothes. She was buying me clothes. She was watching like the runway shows and things like that. So they're part of that story. And then it also is inspired by my biracial heritage. So it spans for centuries, basically. So the picture down here is my 4 times great grandparents. And basically my grandmother, she had bought her husband out of slavery. He was a biracial man. And she bought him out of slavery for $400. We still have the bill of sale at home, and which today would be around $12,000. So she had saved up to get her man out of slavery, and they went on to have a family. And then the picture next to it is my parents, my father and my mother. So the south side of couture merges hip hop influence with inner city streetwear with 17th century Baroque period opulence. It reinterprets hip hop through culture and couture structure, celebrating identity and heritage. And it's elevating hip hop and streetwear into a couture state. So this was like my name for the brand. It's the Palace of Versailles.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I just really like, when I am inspired by 17th century, it's because of the French 17th century specifically, and that super opulent, like over the top, gold leafing, beautiful paintings, like all the decor you could ever want or need. And then that's why I added the flowers, like the beautiful flower arrangements around the house. And then also, like, basically this is a girl showing up to the Palace of Versailles, if Versailles was on the south side of Columbus. And she basically like got beheaded because she has the best outfit on at the party.
So I want to hang out here.
Right.
So the color story for Southside of Couture, it's not really like a super cohesive color story. It's cohesive for me, but I wanted the silhouettes of the collection to be more cohesive than the color story because I am a maximalist, and I like bold, bright colors. Like I like calm colors too, but for my design aesthetic, it's more bold. So I have the black and the white representing like the core branding identity, as well as the gold like elevates it with that opulence and exclusivity. We got the red for like just strength, and then the blues will represent my denim piece because I like to do a lot of denim work in my designing. And then the pink will be like femininity, feminine energy. So this will be look 1. So this look is going to be a Logomania Baroque layered gown. It's going to have a fitted bodysuit underneath, and then it's going to have that pink chiffon, which is on the table. It's going to have that skirt as well as a sleeve, a puff sleeve, and a super structured brocade fabric, which is that same fabric there, corset. And then I just really want this brand to like just identify, this piece to identify the brand like immediately. Just like celebration of how far I came. Like I want to really elevate it with my construction and just making sure that everything is like fitted to the body like perfectly, like as perfect as I could do, and just really celebrating what education has done for me as a designer. So to get a little bit more into the technical breakdown of this first look, we're going to be using some metal boning to construct the corset. The skirt is going to be finished with some French seams, and then we're going to do some lacing on the back for the lacing closure of the corset. And these are the pattern pieces that I have developed. So I have a back skirt and a front skirt. And then you can't see it on there, but I have markings on the pattern where I'm going to add godets so I can have more volume. And I really want this to just like float down the runway. I want it to catch that air and just like fly behind the model as she comes down. We also have the corset pieces, the sleeves for the bodysuit and the bodysuit, and then we also have the sleeve, like the puff sleeve, cuff, glove, like handless glove situation. So for my costing for the first collection, or for the first look, so I did all the calculations. So my total materials cost would be about $165. For labor, I approximately do about like 30 to 34 hours of labor, and I'm going to charge $30 an hour for labor. So that'll bring the total up to $1,020. And then I want to position this in the couture world. So basically I looked up like how they go about their pricing structure. And so they will go by experience of the designer as well as like just where you're at in the market. And they mark it up from anywhere from 2.5 times to 6 times of what your labor and your materials cost would be. So I decided to go with that beginning entry point, which is the 2.5 times. So that would bring the total to $3,080 for this first look. And then I also have some more photos. I've been fortunate enough to actually have contact with my model and get her into some fittings. And then I've kind of been playing around with 2 different ways to make my bodysuit. So the first one, I made a bodice top and then like a legging pant, and was gonna just somehow connect that. But I really didn't want a seam in the very front of it. I wanted it to look seamless as possible. So then I did some more research and figured out another way to construct the bodysuit to where the seams are on the side and it's not on the front, and there will only be like probably an invisible zipper on the back, so it'll still look pretty seamless. So still gotta fit this on my model. She's a little bit more curvy than the mannequin, so I'm hoping that those wrinkles and gaps will probably fill out when she tries it on, but that's just a part of the process. So for look 2, this is gonna be my Baroque denim patchwork 2-piece gown. This is also kind of like just celebrating another nod back to C3XL, because I do a lot of rework denim, a lot of just using scraps to remake jeans or like jackets and things like that, purses. So basically this is going to be a like big skirt. This is this look here on this model. It's going to be like a mermaid skirt with like a whole bunch of godets in the bottom just to make it really full, a lot of paneling. I'm going to have that front piece of it is going to actually be like a whole bunch of different waistbands from different pairs of jeans. And then on the back of the train, I want to actually spray paint graffiti on the back, just another nod to my love for graffiti art. And then I'm also going to have a woven braid trim. That's going to be the nod to that 17th century Baroque, and that's going to go on the sleeves and down the side seam of the skirt, as well as I'm going to add some jewels, some ruby jewels to the jacket. And then this jacket is also going to be like a adjustable hem. So I want it to be already cropped, but then I wanted to have a zipper right in the middle of it to where you can do like a super crop. So if you want to rock it super short, put like a cute like bustier under there or something, or a bodysuit. And then this part just to hang, just to showcase that it is adjustable. So this is some more of my construction details, a little bit more details with the zipper and the spray paint that I'll be using. And then I'll be using the same pattern pieces as the first one. And then it's just going to be a different material pretty much. And then also for my materials cost for this look, it's going to be approximately, I'm sorry, we can go to the next slide. For my material cost, it's going to be approximately $133. I do plan to gather a lot of the denim scraps from just like people who are getting rid of clothes, you know, things that I have already in my collection. All the time, like I talk to people about fashion, like, oh, I have some jeans that I'm not wearing, so they kind of just already donate those to me. So the denim scraps won't be the bulk of the price, and this will probably be a pretty cheap as far as gathering materials because it is a sustainable look. So about 133 total for that. And then about 53 hours of labor because this is going to be pretty much a lot more intense because of the paneling and the patchwork and doing all of that. So that will probably put me at about 53 hours of construction time. And then so that total brings it to $1,590. And then with the couture multiplier, it's going to bring it up to $5,169. And this will be my finale look for the website. This is called Lines of My Lineage. This look is celebrating my biracial heritage, and the lines represent like just all the different pathways that, you know, the people in my family history have taken to like create me basically. So I wanted to still have that nod to that streetwear vibe. So I wanted to be a t-shirt, like a layered t-shirt, and then it's going to have C3XL. So the sleeve is going to have a C, the front is going to have the 3. The other sleeve is going to have the X, and then the back is going to have big L. So basically it just ties it back to the brand. We're going to do the very similar silhouette with the mermaid style. This skirt will be made out of satin jacquard. And then we'll just be doing the black cotton jersey and the white cotton jersey. And then this is also like a zero waste like concept for this look. I want to take like the applique, like graffiti adjacent design that you see on the front and use the scraps from what I cut out the skirts with to like create and sew an applique onto the front of each of the dresses. And I also want to display this with a white model and a black model, just to represent my heritage, and I want them to be tied together. So that's just the front view of it, and then I'll kind of see what it will look like coming down. I've been thinking a lot about my construction for like how I'm going to connect the lines, because I know I've gone through a lot of different things in my mind, but I landed on, I want to add grommets on both sides and interlace the dresses to each other. So like lace this dress and then connect it to the other dress and do the same, but like crisscross, so it's like all mix match. So it is going to be a very similar skirt pattern, but just a little smaller. I want this one to kind of be more tight. I don't really want the models to have issues like that. But I do want to add some volume by adding a petticoat underneath just to give it that volume and accentuate their curves and just reinforce that like luxe silhouette. So I have my petticoat pattern there, my t-shirt pattern, as well as my dresses or my skirt patterns. And then I'm also going to be using a lining. I'm going to be screen printing these t-shirts, and I'm going to be attaching the cording with the same type of cording you would use for like a pair of sweatpants, still connecting it to that streetwear. And then the grommets for the side connections. So this look, these are a little couple sample photos on the model. And then the pricing for this look, my total materials is going to be $202. My labor estimate is about 52 hours because I'm doing 2 looks, so probably about 20 hours each, or give or take. And then, so that will put me at $1,560 with the labor and with the couture markup. And this is for both of the looks. If you were both to buy both, it would be $5,286. And this is just a showing of the lineup for the collection and how they will come down. Look 1, look 2, and look 3/4. Really 4. And then our references, and I would like to welcome you to give me your feedback so I can help bring this concept to life. Thank you.
Yes, 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 and yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes, and yes.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Shall we go just in the same order? Does that make sense? We start with Joe.
Well, I have goosebumps. Right. I was.
Good luck.
First of all, great job on the cohesion of the slideshow. Like your branding is through, just like Amira was talking about earlier, like you can see your branding all the way through that, and especially with the typography kind of carried throughout. But even in just like the sketches and the mood board and everything, it's like very, very clear what your brand is. So excellent job on that. That graffitied Versailles was like, you just need to use that image everywhere because that was great. Great job on your thinking through your cost structure. That's what I like to see, that you thought through not just like the cost of the fabrics, but the cost of labor, any markups, things like that. And I know you've been doing this for a little while, but even people that I talk to that are actively running businesses don't always think through some of those things. So good job, like actually sitting and breaking it down like that. If you ever took this to like investors or anything, that's what they want to see, is how are you thinking through not just the cost of supplies, but are you paying yourself? And then additionally, how are you actually making money? So good job breaking that down. I love that you included the process pictures. I always like to see that because it shows me not only like what are you doing, but like what is your thought process? What's your thought process throughout? Like how is like experimenting with your patterns, maybe tweaking your original design, and just how are you building on like skills that you came in with. I've already seen look 3, but seeing it again still kind of just gave me goosebumps. I mean, the whole concept behind that look and tying that back to your family, like, makes me want to cry. So, great job on that. The only one, like, caveat that I thought, and because you didn't mention this, is because you have gold in the name of this collection, there's very little gold to be seen other than here. And so my one thing would be, just from a visual perspective, even if it's just on this piece, if you have time, this is great, but I would maybe consider adding gold touches to this, whether it's like splashes of gold paint or embossing or a little bit of embroidery or something, just because this is so one-dimensional.
Yeah.
Typically, when you say brocade, I was thinking some metallic thread and things like that. This is kind of one-dimensional, so in order to make this pop a little more, I would think about adding some like actual gold and some texture to this piece specifically, especially because you're already doing the rhinestones on look 2, and then you've got the beads or whatever is on your lines in look 3, so you already have some other texture going on, and I feel like this first look is going to feel a little flat compared to those.
Yeah.
So that's, from a creative perspective, that's just my one thought for this piece specifically. But overall, great job. Like, I was expecting a lot from you, and you like hit everything I could have wanted to see. Also, the presentation board, well done.
When the presentation board came out, I already knew. I was like, yes, ma'am. I was like, okay, she got 3D work going on up here. So all I could think to say is yes, ma'am. There's so much that kind of ties into like me. I both Joe and Coral were in Cleveland a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I'm like, I got to step my finances up because do you take Afterpay? Because I'm gonna need all of those. But a few weeks ago, I was in Cleveland speaking at the Rust Belt Fiber Shed Symposium.
I got to hear that. I was there.
Okay. Oh, you were. Yes.
It inspired me because I wanted to include my family story more into it. So I definitely took inspiration from it.
Thank you. I was gonna say I spoke on being a good ancestor and spoke about my family's enslavement into me being the first generation freed in my family. Yeah. Literally born free in my family. I'm only 46. And a lot of people think it's like 400 years ago. No, right. there were still slaves in this country, and still slaves in other formats. But I love that you are incorporating that. And one of the biggest things with me was like, because we're introducing cotton as part of our Farm to Fashion initiative, we're in how to introduce that cotton conversation to African Americans is something that has to be done carefully and thoughtfully and include storytelling. And you told your story perfectly. You know your fashion history. You talked about Versailles. I mean, I know you didn't talk about the Battle of Versailles, but the Battle of Versailles is something. It's a story that I always share with our models coming up. If you don't know, even though she didn't share that, but it's the first time African American models really got put on the spotlight. And D5 will be doing a Battle of Versailles style event next year. We have a designer, Danielle Simpson, who came through our incubator last year. Her style, her line was based on hip hop and couture. I would love to introduce you to each other. We talked about, I know you spoke about sustainability. There's two other designers that I want to introduce you to. One's Ayanna Ames out of Cincinnati. I think her line's called Amaline. I believe that's the name of it. And then Other by Emmy, Sandra Bowden, who is our designer mentor. Her brand is called Other because she's biracial as well. And she was like, I love both my white side, my mom, and my black side. Yeah. But growing up, she's a little bit older than you. There were no other options. So it was black, white, Asian, or other. Mm-hmm. So she always had to check other growing up. Mm-hmm. And so that's where she got the brand Other by Emmy. Your price points are amazing. I do think you might have to tweak them a little bit higher when it comes to materials because your materials are really on the low side. Thinking about, you showed the one image where you said you hope the wrinkles will kind of work themselves out because your model's a little more curvy. Like I told Jakari, if I'm saying his name correctly, you might want to consider not having it mass produced and going that haute couture route as well because, again, fitting perfectly to somebody's body. Even when you think about where hip-hop, how much hip-hop fashion has inspired overall fashion trends, your price points may be a little bit too high for them. So you might want to think of a lower end where it's like you're going to get this kind of fabric right here. But think about some higher quality fabric and then have a lower end line that's a little more affordable because hip hop, it is a culture. And you have to remember the roots and make sure, I would like to see you keep it affordable for those who aren't in that $300,000 range, like me. But yes, ma'am, and yes, ma'am. And just think about your continuity, continuity. Girl, yes.
Yes, thank you. I just want to respond to your last comment. I still want to keep C3XL as a part of the brand. So that's going to be my cheaper everyday buy-in brand. Mm-hmm. It's still going to have the avant-garde couture hints, but then this brand, the gold tag, is going to be for those people who are in that higher.
Yes. And so don't forget to have the gold. Yes, when she's talking about the gold, I see you have your bamboo earrings on. You should make sure your models. Yes,
I am.
I was thinking about that when she said it, but I didn't want to speak for her. But I was like, yeah, you gotta have that hip hop bamboo earring in there.
I'm excited for you guys to see the accessories because I have a surprise, but I'm not going to reveal it.
Yes.
All right, non-expert vibes again over here. Okay, you already said everything.
I'm sorry.
Just, wow.
Next time, go backwards.
But yes, your branding is incredibly strong and vivid and memorable and just pops out at you, and it will just stick with everyone. Which is I don't know what I'm talking about and even recognize that. So that was incredible. Your personal context, your backstory, it was a thread that ran through the whole presentation. Mm-hmm. You set up the idea of the dichotomy, almost the juxtaposition of two elements, and then you just stuck with it through the whole presentation, the fabric and the design, and just it was very strong and it was art is all about unity and variety. I know you guys all know that, but there's really strong unity and variety in everything that you did. All the pieces are stunning. They're so innovative. They're so unique. They're just, it's incredible. I love the contrast of, well, not contrast, the dichotomy of the streetwear and the Baroque influence. It's just very artsy, but also like just so cool and awesome and accessible. And I want to buy all of these too. I found it. Your presentation was amazing. It was very, very professional, and obviously lots of expertise, but also very authentic and personal, which it's amazing you can balance those elements, and you did just like if you were giving that speech in my class, you'd get like an A+++++. So wonderful. Yeah, your concept is incredible, and you personified your target market really well. I could like see basically who you were talking about, called her, and that was really good because that kind of got in your head a little bit. Yeah, I was completely blown away by every part of it. Yeah, your technical descriptions of the process and everything. And I love the idea that you are kind of working on some degree of like kind of upcycling fabrics. I wish there was a way to like mass do that somehow, like do like some industry-wide recycling, like send your jeans to designers thing, but I don't know. But the idealism is there, and the ethics and the ethos are there, and it's just, yeah, amazing, wonderful.
Thank you guys so much. I want to turn it over to the online crew. If you guys can chime in, and we'll go ahead and just do the same order again because we're continuing to say. So, Lucy, I'm going to turn it over to you.
I want to say congratulations, Courtney. Hey, I want to say congratulations. This whole entire presentation, I think the cohesion went crazy. I'm so proud of you. My favorite part, I think, was kind of just the juxtaposition, I think, of you blending the south side of Columbus and then blending out with like the couture aspect. I think those are both valuable perspectives, and being able to reflect that throughout clothes is really important, and I think that's something that needs to be showcased. And so with that, I think you have something right there that needs to be showcased on the market. My favorite look was really the third look, the couture look with seeing the two kind of twins like walking down. That kind of reminded me of the Gucci look where they have the twins walking down the runway, but you made it your own unique perspective. And so that was really something that I enjoyed looking at, and I can't wait to see this. So yeah, congratulations again.
Thank you, Abuji. Darcy, I'm going to let you take it away.
Yeah, hi Courtney.
Hi, Darcy.
It's great to see how your brand has kind of evolved from where even you were this past fall to where you're heading this spring. I think it looks amazing. I think you built on a lot of the foundation that you had and really brought it to life. So outstanding job. Of course, I love the collection because it really reflects the identity of who you are as a designer, and I think that comes to life. And I think the strength of you is your storytelling. And your storytelling is going to take you very far because you're able to connect with so many different, even people in the room or online. Like the way you presented your story brought us all along, no matter what our background was, whether we were in the fashion space or not, whatever our background was, you brought us along and sold us. And so I think that right there is going to speak volumes for you as you go forward. I think the consumer today really does want to, they want to know the behind the scenes. They want to know the inspiration. They want to know the experience before they actually do the transaction. And I think, as you're continuing to go along, sharing your story, thinking about your marketing, think about anybody that you bring on board to help you, make sure that they're having the same passion and able to share your story and your voice is really going to help you, whether it's your couture or your everyday. That message needs to be consistent because they might aspire for your couture line, but then have access to your everyday. And that experience and storytelling that you have is going to bring them along. So great job.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Maria, we'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yes, I completely echo on the storytelling. I think that you did a beautiful job and a very great job of clearly articulating your brand, the meaning of your brand, the inspiration, the story. You were so clear and cohesive. I think that if I were to look at this from a consumer lens, it'd be very easy to grasp, very easy to relate to and very easy to follow. So right off the bat, just great job on kind of setting that stage and really clearly articulating the brand, the meaning, and the story. Fantastic job there. I also love that then you kind of transitioned into clearly stating the brand values. I really think that this is important for you and the brand because it then kind of sets the messaging pillars across the board, right? Once you have your brand values, you can then start to have your messaging pillars for like marketing and your content and all of that, really, because you kind of set your umbrella in terms of like what is important to the brand. So I love that you even kind of transition from your story, your inspo, into hey, this is what's important to the brand, and clearly identifying those values. I thought was amazing. To someone else's point earlier around just kind of the price point, I know you kind of have like, you know, this is more kind of elevated sub-brand and version, but I'm also wondering too, you know, there could be a way for people maybe that aren't in this target demographic to take a part in it, whether it's, you know, a small accessory, whether it's, you know, it could be a scarf or a keychain or a little clutch or something like that, where people can still be a part of this kind of more luxury experience of your brand, but maybe not in kind of the apparel way, but maybe in an accessory way perhaps. So wanted to call that out as well. But I do feel like, you know, it was crazy because as I was following your presentation, you know, your story was amazing, your ideas, the brand, the meaning, and then I was like, how is she going to bring this to life? And girl, you delivered.
Yes, you did.
I was so impressed and just really, really just taken back in awe. Like, you delivered. Your collection clearly embodies the brand, the story of your upbringing, kind of marrying that luxury and kind of that, you know, inner city streetwear. Like, you just married those so beautifully, and it just feels so natural and cohesive. I do agree with Joe on the gold a little bit. So adding a little bit of that, I do agree, you know, you can kind of, you know, tie it back together a little more tightly, but you did a beautiful job of integrating that. I will say too, you know, just from kind of closing that branding and storytelling full cycle, you could even add like a hang tag as you kind of sell your pieces that have your story kind of written on it, like a little summary of just the inspiration, because it's such a powerful story that you have. And I think the customers will really, really relate to that. So it could be a little hang tag maybe with the pieces, or a card that comes with each purchase, or something like that that just brings their story full circle. I just think that's just wonderful. And then I also will say I do agree in the fact that you clearly were so thoughtful from a business standpoint on researching the pricing, the materials, you know, kind of costs, all of that. You did such a beautiful job of just putting that together in a way that's so easily like understood, and to Joe's point, even from an investor perspective, like you just did it in such like a clean, high level format that just really kind of showcases the value here and why this brand is so great. So overall, amazing job.
Thank you. I want to sit in my feet.
Them hills are healing.
Thank you so much. Yuma, if you want to share with us your thoughts, we would appreciate it. I know she came in and out, so hopefully she is able. Are you with us, Yuma?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah.
Can you see me?
We cannot. There we go. There you are. Hi.
Ah, yes, no, so sorry. I was having issues with audio on my end, I'm sure. But Courtney, congratulations on all of this coming together. It's exciting to see how Look 2 came out. That was something I was really excited for, how we were going to reconstruct that and just make it fit with the brand overall. This presentation made me very excited because it was very clear and evident that this is a designer who is well acquainted with their brand, understands the vision for it, understands the audience. I feel like it was a very cohesive presentation, very cohesive branding. I would say, in terms of just general feedback, and maybe this might go against the ethos of the brand and the direction that you're heading into. I would say that how can we how are we making this a sustainable business, really? How are we making this a brand with longevity? Where are those avenues and those potential audiences and opportunities that you can get into to make sure that your brand or the goal tagline extends past maybe a few years or anything like that? But even down to the inspiration of using Rihanna as like that ideal client, I feel like that is so on point, and I can, like, in my head, I'm just seeing where all this could fit in and where it could go. But in terms of the actual business model and where and how this can sustain itself, I think that aside from, of course, selling it and having placement or a loyal client list or being a fixture with certain clients or anything like that, I think the biggest thing is just how can we make this a long-lasting, long-standing line. That would be my only feedback. But overall, it's just a great brand story. It made sense. Even down to the demographic and everything else, like, yeah, this is definitely on point. The inspiration of it, your final look as well, was just so creative and everything. It's very exciting, and I'm so excited to just see this in person. And see how this runs down the runway. So congratulations again, Courtney.
Thank you.
Beautiful storytelling.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yay, I want to clap.
Yes. Woo!
Okay, so number one, I just want to say I'm so proud of you, Courtney. I'm really proud of you. You'll get all my feedback. But the thing I'm most proud of that I want to just call out is how you respond to critical feedback.
Yeah.
You have done so much responding to critical feedback, and I see you even responding to your own critical feedback. And your presentation is a testament to you reading every bit of feedback I've given you and anyone who's offered you and making adjustments, including your own adjustments on your own feedback of yourself. So congrats on that. That's hard. You're doing a really good job there. Also, I just love your collection. I can't wait to see it on the runway.
Yes.
I'll give you some more critical feedback later. We're at a juncture right now where we're really at time. We went way over. We started late. All the things. So if anyone online or anyone here needs to go, totally fine and understood. I know Amira is really not well today, but she showed